Welcome back, everybody, to Waadaplaya Concussion Sub Series Super Saturday double-header game today. We will start with the second game first, RCB versus Mumbai Indians, and then earlier in the day, afternoon game, Chennai Super Kings got trashed by Sunrisers. That's a true story. So we will cover that. But Mithun, welcome back on our show, and Adi is on voice today. But how happy are you with this RCB victory, especially over Mumbai, who look completely out of sorts this season?
ಖಂಡಿತವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಸುಮನ್, ಇವತ್ತಿನ ವಿಕ್ಟರಿ ವಾಸ್ ರಿಯಲಿ ಗುಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ಅಸ್ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಎನಿ ಗಿವನ್ ಡೇ ವಿನ್ ಅಗೇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಮುಂಬೈ ಅಂಡ್ CSK ಇಸ್ ವೆರಿ ವೆರಿ ಕ್ರೂಷಲ್ ಇನ್ ಬಿಗ್ ಟೂರ್ನಮೆಂಟ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದಿಸ್. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಅವರು ದೇ ಆರ್ ದ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಗೆಸ್ಟ್ ಟೀಮ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ IPL so far, CSK and Mumbai. This will give a lot of confidence to the team. And the way we bowlers performed at the start of the innings, and then the batters finish it off in a style. So convincing victory. So couldn't have asked for a better than this.
Excellent. And Anil Jain, Saturday, both the top teams, so-called top teams, Mumbai Indians and Chennai Super Kings, got defeats
Yeah.
handed. So, what do you make out of this new 10-team strategy, and what is happening with CSK and what is happening with Mumbai Indians?
So for Mumbai Indians, I think the entire team is new, other than the four players who are common than the other seasons. But the other players have not been able to understand their role, or exactly, I don't know what's happening. Plus the team selection, I don't know why Mills and Tim David were not part of the team. They just went ahead with two overseas, so I don't know what's happening on that end. With CSK, I think things are not just clicking on their end. The bowlers are not performing as well as they used to do. They're missing Deepak Chahar definitely, so that's one thing. But yeah, I mean, it's highly unlikely that you would have seen that a team who just won last year and the team who has won continuously twice the previous 2 years are in the bottom of the tables. But yeah, that this is what the new IPL season is, and in this particular season, it's all been about the youngsters. You saw Surya Kumar Yadav, which is a different league altogether, but then we also saw Anuj Rawat, we saw Harsal Patel, and the other games also, and then Abhishek Sharma, right? So it was a day for two left paws today's southpaw, sorry.
Absolutely. And Adi, you're on voice today for us, but what do you make out of this Mumbai Indians loss and RCB victory?
Yeah, I think Mumbai look out of sorts. To be honest, you're playing like just two overseas players. It's not like you just have four or five, you have seven, right? So I don't know why they are not picking Fabian Allen. Like, okay, you saw your other overseas players, Sams, Meredith, Tim David. Okay, they didn't perform. Fine, bench them. Timon Mills was decent enough. I would never play Unadkat or Thampi over Timon Mills, right? They both played overtime. Like Unadkat played today, and then also Fabian Allen. He hasn't played a single match. How are you deciding that he is a worse option than the players who have played the matches, right? So it was very baffling. And I've been seeing IPL since the start 2008. I've never seen a playing 11 with just two foreign players. I can't remember at least.
Hmm.
I've seen three multiple times, but two is the first time. I don't know what their thought process was in like backing Ramandeep and all. So yeah, very surprising. But having said that, I think after the auctions as well, we did say that Mumbai Indians foreign players look like pretty weak because most of them are unproven at IPL stage or who have been in the IPL and haven't performed well. Like think Timal Mills has never set IPL on fire or even Meredith, right? Even when they've played before. So that is coming back to hurt them. Like their Archer move was okay. They looked at like next year beyond, but Archer move didn't work out. Two other problems they're facing is Rohit is not in his like top form. Like today he got off to a good start, but other two matches no. Ishan Kishan also today played a very scratchy knock. Then unfortunate Tilak Verma who's been really good his run out. So some things didn't go well, but one thing good from an India perspective is Surya Kumar is in red hot form. So that's good for us from a Team India perspective. But yeah, they kind of look out of sorts. I'll be shocked if they make to the playoffs from here, like four losses. So
Yeah. And Adi, Sanjay Dubey is making a point that even Delhi earlier this season went with two overseas only. Looks like Delhi and Mumbai Indians are.
Right, they went with two because four overseas players of theirs were not available. Like Warner was not available, Mitchmarsh was not available. I think two more were also like flying in. So first time I'm seeing like when you have seven, you're picking two is like kind of absurd.
Yeah, absolutely. And there was a mid innings interview with Zahir Khan, and I've never seen somebody in Mumbai Indians saying we are desperate for a win. He sounded very, very desperate on that interview, saying that we need to win. So, Mithun, coming back to you, yes, RCB won, you should be happy, but any worrying signs, or do you feel that all the bases are covered for RCB this year?
ಸೊ ಖಂಡಿತವಾಗ್ಲು ಏನು ಅಂತ ವರಿ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಆಸ್ ಲಾಂಗ್ ಆಸ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ವಿನ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಎವ್ರಿಥಿಂಗ್ ಲುಕ್ಸ್ ರಿಯಲಿ ಗುಡ್. ಸೊ ಸೋತಾಗ್ಲೇ ತುಂಬಾ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ರೈಸ್ ಆಗೋದು. ಆತರ ನೋಡಕ್ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಇವತ್ತು
Sorry, Mithun. Sorry to. But you guys have been winning. RCB has been winning season after. Like last season, also they won 8 games, 16 points. I think what's different this time is that they have covered all the basics in the first 4 matches itself. Today's victory was because of Harshal Patel, Hasranga, and Anuj Rawat, right? So this has not been the case earlier with the RCB team. So as far as win is concerned, this win is I think much more important. I feel than the previous wins that you guys would have seen. Just wanted to
ಯಾ
mention that.
ಸೊ ಅನಿಲ್ ಅದು ತುಂಬಾ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ. ಸೊ ಈ ಸಲ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಕವರ್ಡ್ ಆಲ್ ದ ಬೇಸಸ್. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದಟ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಡಿಪೆಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಆನ್ ಒನ್ ಆರ್ ಟೂ ಪ್ಲೇಯರ್ಸ್ ಟು ಪರ್ಫಾರ್ಮ್. It's collectively team has been performing really well in this year, and the captaincy, no doubt, Faf has been doing really great. Bits and pieces here and there, field changes, or it might be bowling changes, using your right bowlers at right place. Maybe that's something it's happening. Shiraz seems to be a little bit off, but one game he'll come good because he's one bowler who has been consistently performing for RCB for the past 3 years now. So hoping to see him come back to his normal form in the next match, rather than trying too much with his variations.
Yeah, and Anil, on your point of all bases covered, I think a couple of areas I still feel is a concern, and it includes Sunrisers too. If you look at Kane Williamson on top and Faf du Plessis, they're eating up a lot of balls, and if you're playing in power play, they're supposed to be scoring fast. So strike rate a concern with RCB from the top.
So I mean, Faf. If you look at the first match, also he started in the same way where he was taking a lot of balls to start off, but then he ended at 88 in 57 balls. So I don't think so. That's a concern for Faf. The main point being that they are not depending on their captain or the main batsman. You have Anuj Rawat. So even if Kohli gets out, Maxwell gets out, and Faf gets out, I'm still confident in this particular RCB batting lineup that they can chase the total. Shabaz Ahmed looks confident. He knows his role. Then you have Dinesh Karthik, who seems to be in a red hot form. I mean, we discussed this in a last meeting also, that maybe if he plays like this, there is a chance he could be part of the Indian team also. Highly unlikely, but still there is a chance. Then you have Harsanga, you have Patel. They all can do a pinch hitting and all. So that way, RCB still looks solid. Yes, I mean, Faf, but at least Faf doesn't look out of place. He can come good on 1 or 2 games, and that's what you need. Faf winning you couple of games, Kohli winning you 1 or 2 games, Anuj Rawat winning you game, and that's all you need. That's how I think the team comes together, and each one delivers their performance whenever that's required.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Adi, coming back to you from a Mumbai Indians perspective, do they have a chance at all, or is the season over for Mumbai and Chennai?
I think it's more or less over because this time you have 8 teams, right? So, sorry, 10 teams. Previously you had 8 teams. So with 10 teams, you more or less need 8 wins to get through. What happens is unless there are two teams winning like 11 or 12, which seems slightly unlikely given like teams are kind of matched, you might need 8 wins to go through. So 8 wins to go through means winning 8 in the next 10 matches in the hole they are in currently is going to be super difficult. So I think it's more or less end of the road for both. And it's not like, hey, MI or the CSK are waiting for some 2-3 overseas superstars to come and bolster their team. this is the strongest 11s they've been able to put out, except Chennai, like Deepak Chahar. But he's going to take a while to come back, right? So I think I'll be shocked if either of MI or CSK kind of make it to the playoffs. I think it's kind of done and dusted because you lose 4 matches, it's really tough. And CSK for me, as we are discussing MI, the batting is like a big concern, and their Indian bowling is also not that strong. Like their main spinner is Murugan Ashwin, who's been on and off. Then you've got like Thampi and Unadkat, who are not as reliable. And then Indian batting as well. Tilak Verma and Surya Kumar are in like form. Ishan Kishan first match he did well, but again today he was very scratchy. I think 28 of 28 is something, right? So looks really tough.
Yeah, absolutely. And we got Vishok joining in. Seems pretty big smile on his face. What about Hasaranga performance today, Vishak? Why don't we start with him?
Yeah, I think he's been doing pretty well over all the 4 matches. I think he's been consistently among the wickets, and he's been doing the job. Like mainly, I think he's picking up 1 or 2 wickets, and those all are around crucial wickets. I think even if you see today, right, there was around a slide of 12 for 5 in 4 overs. I think for Mumbai Indians, and he picked 2 crucial wickets for that in that. So I think he's been performing pretty well. Apart from couple of sixes being hit there, here and there for him, I think that happens to any spinner kind of. And leg spinners generally, because like the leg spinners usually they have that problem with their accuracy usually. So I think 4 overs, 2 for 30, I would take it any day.
Absolutely. And from batting perspective, Vishak, any concerns? Glenn Maxwell finished it off. Dinesh Karthik finished it off. There was a little blip, but any concerns from batting of RCB?
I don't think there is any concern with the batting. One concern for me would be the form of Siraj. I think he is going too much for pace. Rather than usually, if you see Siraj, he is at his best when he bowls between 135 to 140 and swinging the ball. He is going nowadays. He is bowling in this IPL. He's bowling at around 145, 144 consistently. That's not the Siraj which we have seen. So he's striving for pace and actually losing accuracy and also his swing. So that is something he needs to regain back. He has to go back to his old ways, swing it with the new ball. So that's where what his strengths are. I think that is one problem where RCB has. Well, that is one problem which I can see. Maybe if Hazelwood comes back, I think he can guide Siraj, and they both can be a lethal combination.
Yeah. And how cool is it? Like Anil was mentioning, a RCB win doesn't feature any big name. But guess what? Virat Kohli had a contribution today, 48, and he seemed to be coming back into form. How pleasing is that for you, Mithun?
ಖಂಡಿತವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಸುಮನ್ ತುಂಬಾ ಖುಷಿ ಆಯ್ತು. ನನಗೆ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ನಾನು ನೋಟಿಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಹೌ ಈ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಮುರುಗನ್ ಅಶ್ವಿನ್ ಅಂತ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಈ ಆಲ್ವೇಸ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಗಲ್ಸ್ ಅಗೇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಲೆಗ್ ಸ್ಪಿನ್ನರ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ದ ವೇ ಈ ಪ್ಲೇಡ್ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ ಔಟ್ ಶಾಟ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಆಡ್ದ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ದ ವೇ ಪ್ಲೇಡ್ ದೋಸ್ ಪುಲ್ ಶಾಟ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ಬುಮ್ರಾ ವಾಸ್ ಶೋಯಿಂಗ್ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ಫಾರ್ಮ್. ನಾಟ್ ದಟ್ ಇವತ್ತವರೆಗೂ ಅವರು ಸ್ಟ್ರಗಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರು ಅಂತ. ಈ ವಾಸ್ ಪ್ಲೇಯಿಂಗ್ ನಾರ್ಮಲ್ ಶಾಟ್ಸ್, ಬಟ್ luck was not in his favor. But today he looked commendable. Unfortunate way to get out. Debatable topic again. Decision out ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದು ಕಾಂಟ್ರವರ್ಸಿ ಇತ್ತು ತುಂಬಾ. But you can't do anything when both the bat and pad were too close. So adu discuss ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. But very happy to see in form is dangerous, threatening to the opponents. Yeah.
I'll say one thing on RCB concerns, right? Like their death bowling. Like I was never the biggest fan of Harshal Patel, but I'm beginning to appreciate his variations and trickery more and more. So at least they've got that nailed down. But the other side in the death is a concern for me because Billy doesn't bowl at the death, right? He's just your opening 2-3 overs, and then bowling Hasaranga at the death is a risk in general, right? Like spinner at the death is risk. Then your other options are Akashdeep and Siraj, right? Akashdeep has been okay so far, but I'm not fully confident that is like okay death overs finishing and all that. Before today's game, I was also concerned with Anuj Rawat, but he has shut my mouth on it. He played a fantastic knock because I was thinking maybe why are you having Anuj Rawat opening, especially when you have DK and Maxwell in the lower down the order. Maybe you could open with Kohli. But Anuj has proved his critics, including me, wrong today. So I guess we'll get like a longer run.
Excellent.
Adi, if you would have followed domestic cricket very closely with Anuj Rawat, especially playing for Delhi, Syed Mustakal Trophy, he has been consistently scoring. Every season before the start of IPL, when RR picks him, I was thinking that he will get the opportunity. Unfortunately, he spent most of the time on the bench, so people did not see his real talent. But very happy for him that he is finally getting that opportunity with RCB, and he will be one player to watch out in the future. He is a big match
And I
player.
think RCB management and FAF do trust him, do shows confidence in him. I saw him on the leg slip when Tilak Verma Pollard was batting. So it shows that they are ready to give him at a important fielding positions also. And the way he batted, the reason why I didn't mention Kohli is because I was so mesmerized with his performance. I remember Pollard coming, he moving away on the offside, so Pollard stopping. The next ball hits it for six, right? So that shows what kind of confidence he has, what kind of attitude he carries. So that's why I was really impressed by his performance rather than Kohli. We have seen a lot of 48s, 50s from Kohli, so it doesn't look, you know, I mean, it doesn't look big now. So until the 71st doesn't come, yeah, it's not gonna be nothing. Nothing's gonna be matter anymore.
71st won't come in the IPL also, so we'll have to wait for a long
We
Yeah,
never know. We never know. Yeah.
but it won't count. It won't count in the international. I mean,
Yep,
Because
yep.
so,
you
yeah.
know, Virat Kohli as a player has set his expectation bar so high that people all expect him to score those 70s, 80s, and hundreds whenever he gets out to bat. So can't
No,
be done.
I saw a comment where saying MI fans also voted for Kohli as a stylish batsman. I think that's obvious. The entire India would vote for him against any other player. So that's not a surprising. Yeah, this one. So it's Kohli is the stylish player. I mean, no doubt about it.
Absolutely. And before we switch to Chennai Super Kings versus Sunrisers, there's one point which Sanjay Dubey is making is form of Hitman, Ishan, Jadeja, Pant are all worrying signs for Team India. Should we be worried or are we reading too much into club cricket form?
Definitely, I would be worried about Jadeja because I know if he is not bowling 4 overs in IPL, will he bowl 4 overs for India? Will he be confident enough to bowl 4 overs? I think Sanjay also made this point yesterday, I think. So I think that is one of the major concerns for me. Being the captain, I think he is underbowling himself. He has to trust his abilities. And he is one of the premier all-rounders for Team India. So he has to bowl those 4 overs, whatever be the stage. If he thinks that there is due, he has to come in early, bowl in the power play. And he is someone who fires it and not believes in flighting the ball and stuff. So I think for him, due would not be a major factor. So he can easily bowl those 4 overs, gain that confidence. So that is a kind of a thing. Rohit, I think he's looking good. He's just starting to look good and is getting out. So I wouldn't read too much into Rohit's form. But Ishan Kishan, yeah, I think people have started figuring out he is weak outside the off stump. So people are bowling outside off stump there. He has to improve his game there.
And what about Rishabh Pant?
Pant, I
Rishabh
feel it's
Pant,
okay. Like one bad innings doesn't, say that he's out of form or anything. We have to see if this continues throughout the tournament. If it is continuing 1 2 months after this also, then it's a problem. So let's see. But definitely with Pant, because I don't see Ishan being in our strongest playing 11. Or if his form goes away, we can get someone like Shubman Gill or like there's so many other players that it's not a worry. But definitely Pant because he's our keeper. I don't think there's talk of moving away from him or anything. He's continuing to play. So yeah, his form we have to monitor and hopefully he gets back to his best.
Excellent. And Anil, you'd be happy to hear Anuj Rawat is the player of the match between RCB versus Mumbai Indians. No
Yeah,
surprise.
definitely. Yeah, six sixes. I mean, just two boundaries, six sixes, and a score of 66. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, sounds good. All right, switching on to the first game, which was afternoon, Chennai Super Kings versus Sunrisers. Finally, the Sunrisers are on the board, which is pleasing to see. Are these something to smile about for both of us? But let's start with Chennai Super Kings. And Ravi Shastri, I was listening to him on Star Sports. Shastri says that if Chennai in auction would have picked Fab Duplessis and made him the captain, they probably would have had different results than what they are doing right now. How much do we agree with what Shastri has to say?
I think Shastri is kind of hyperboling it. If the main challenge for Chennai is their batting, they're not been able to score and it's been collapsing. Like think Rituraj Gaikwad. He was last season what orange cap holder. This season, all 4 matches he has failed. Right. So that solid start at the top is missing. And then I was kind of surprised by CSK's strategy of dumping Devon Conway very quickly. I think they played him 1 or 2 matches. I thought they'd give him a longer rope and continue with him at the top as an equivalent to Faf replacement. That's gone. And then Raidu is also not in the greatest of touch. Then your whole batting is also Dhoni. One match he played, other matches yes, no. So the batting is not doing well. I don't think Faf could have fixed all of the problems. Having said that, in the initial 2 matches, it looked like Jadeja was a puppet captain, right? It was all Dhoni deciding all the fields and bowlers, talking to them. Jadeja was chilling in the long on or mid wicket. But now Jadeja is taking a more proactive role. So it's a learning curve, right? Like Dhoni eventually has to retire in a year or this year or next year. So good on Chennai to pass on that baton to Jadeja. I think it's mainly the problem with their batting.
I think
Also, I don't know about
CSK and CSK match, right? I thought going into the Mumbai match, I think Surya Kumar Yadav he played a fantastic innings. So the way like the chips were down for Mumbai Indians, I thought like later carrying them to 150, getting and it chose the right bowlers to hit. Kind of scored the 66 of around 38 balls. I think it was a fantastic innings, and it definitely argues well for India. So, Mithun, any thoughts on Surya Kumar Yadav's innings?
ಡೆಫಿನೆಟ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬಾ ಖುಷಿ ಆಯ್ತು. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಗುಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಕ್ರಿಕೆಟ್ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ವೆನ್ 5 wickets were down, playing that commandable innings and getting the team score to 150 was really good, remarkable effort by Surya Kumar Yadav. These are the good signs, and he looks good for the World Cup. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think the innings of Surya Kumar Yadav is a different class, uh, especially after the start they got. The middle order batters didn't have a clue about Hasaranga, but the way Sky came in and played some of the flick shots, and the way he played. I mean, Harshal was the differentiator. He was the only bowler, which Sky could not manage. Otherwise, it was outstanding innings from Surya Kumar Yadav. And the promising signs for India, right? Team India. I think he'll definitely have a ticket for T20 World Cup. Whether he'll get in a playing 11 or no is a big question, but I'm sure he'll be part of the squad.
no, he should be part of playing 11. Should bat at 5 or 6.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Cool. So, from Sunrisers' point of view, Adi, it is a win, nevertheless, but I still feel it is not convincing enough, right? There was death bowling concerns, which you pointed out in your tweet on your account. And then from a batting point of view, Kane Williamson seemed to be struggling with a start a little bit. So outside of that, how do you summarize our performance today?
It is getting better and better by the match. Like the RR match was like a horror show, worst nightmare. And then the LSG match, everything was good except the last 5 overs in the chase. And then this, you got to win like 2 overs to spare. So can't complain. But to your point, I think Kane Williamson's form is a concern. I think Rahul Tripathi should open and Kane should go down to 3 or 4 because Rahul Tripathi is in red hot form. Like the way every other batsman took time to get settled on the pitch or everyone else was struggling. Rahul Tripathi was like, what is the problem? Like from first 2-3 balls itself, he was hitting 4s and 6s. I think he ended with like 30 odd in 10 balls. So he's in red hot form. You could see he was visibly bored as well when Kane and Abhishek were going slowly in the power play. So I would open with Rahul Tripathi. That's one. One thing, they removed Samad, I think, which is the right move. He dropped a catch. He did miss fields. He did not contribute with the bat to brain fades of mistakes to get out. So that at least they're sorting. And I'm also concerned with Umran Malik. Like everyone likes seeing 153, 151, but at the end of the day, we had to bowl like Makram for the 4th over for his. And the problem with Umran is he's becoming too unidimensional. He's always bowling length short of a length at pace. So he's not bowling wide Yorkers, or there's not even a slower one, or he's not attacking the stumps by bowling full, and he's not bowling to his field. He's too raw, and that's all right. So I think, again, unpopular move. drop him and play Karthik Tyagi. Karthik Tyagi is a proven bowler. He's done really well in the IPL historically. He's fully fit and he's back in the camp and ready to go. So play him for a match and let's see how he goes. If he goes really well, then that's good. That's a really good problem to have. And last thing I'd say is again, this is more like me about talking about lack of SRH resources. Is more on. I would rather play Shreyas Gopal for one match on a pitch which is an aiding turn like this one to see how he is. Because Washington Sundar being the lone spinner, if the pitches are only going to get slower and slower moving forward, it's not like they'll help more pacers. So I'd want them to try that as well. So those are my thoughts.
What was pleasing to see with Sunrisers is they had their bowling attack back to what their strength is, right? Stranglehold them in the middle overs and start as well. So Vishak and Anil, any thoughts from Sunrisers' point of view, and what advice would you give to Ravindra Jadeja for CSK for rest of the tournament?
So Adi brought up a nice point. I just wanted to check how was Sundar opening with Abhishek Sharma, Tripathi at third, and Kane Williamson at fourth. So in case if they lose early wicket, at least Williamson can control the inning.
Yeah,
So
fair
that's
enough.
one
That
thing.
makes sense also. Yeah, Markram can also open. So there are a lot of options,
Correct.
right?
Yeah, and now we've seen Abhishek Sharma can really knock the ball really well.
Yeah.
So that's yeah. So that's something SRH can do. And yes, another spinner. When as the tournament progresses, the pitches are going to become slow and slower. So like Adi pointed out, it's good to have another spinner.
And what would you tell Jadeja or CSK management for the rest of the tournament? How do we pick up?
I mean, just enjoy. Just make sure Jadeja learns the tricks of the game. Looks like FAF. I don't think so. They are looking for a international captain. They're more looking at an Indian captain itself. So maybe Jadeja learns the trick, spoils the tournament for other teams. I think that's what CSK and MI are going to do.
Yeah. And Vishak, I was following Gaurav Sundaraman's Twitter feed after Chennai Super Kings loss. He seemed to have conceded that the option strategy of Chennai is something which they have to look at. And he basically tweeted saying that we might as well test the bench strength because I'm losing hope. Is that what you think? Should CSK have a chance to come back or they lost?
I don't think any team is like out yet. It's too early in the tournament. You can see like Mumbai. See, that was a rare thing. Mumbai Indians in 2015 lost 4 matches, went on to win the tournament. So these two teams can definitely take some inspiration, but it's going to be definitely tough. But if they want to take some inspiration, that is what they can do. Try to play at their best and see like just string around 3 to 4 wins together, and then once you get the momentum, you can get rolling. So it's just that don't give up right away. Try to see what best you have 10 games, and maybe you will have to win 8 games out of it to just go through. So just get rolling, try to win 4 or 5 on the trot, and you will have the momentum on your side. Just like you lose 4 on the trot, you can also win 4 on the trot. Like anything, turnarounds can happen.
Indeed, indeed. And I'm trying to bring up the points table as to see how it looks right now. The top four are KKR, Gujarat Titans, RCB moved to number three, and Lucknow Super Giants with 6 points each. And then there are two teams at four, Rajasthan Royals and Punjab Kings. What do you think? Are we getting closer to the top four, or Adi, what do you think? Still, the table is open for 8 teams.
It's pretty much open because some teams have played 3 matches, 4 matches. But I'll say this: I've been very, humbled by Gujarat Titans' performances. Individuals have come through. They have a lot of holes in their squad and their playing 11, but still they are winning matches. That's what matters. Like they've got 6 on 6 points on the table, right? And from like an overall thing, these top four, I think the top six look good so far. Like Punjab Kings, the squad is good, the playing 11 is good, RR also they're good. The bottom four have like issues to resolve. So uh, it's as an SRH fan, it is kind of hurting me to say this, but I think the top six will fight for the top four spots, more or less. Like at least from the look of how it is right now.
Any other
I
thoughts?
would say Punjab still have some holes because I don't think their bowling is that strong. Punjab mainly. So Punjab still has some holes. Rajasthan's, I think, are looking good because their they look the strongest bowling unit in the lineup. So one of the strongest bowling line. And I think the top five looks pretty good. But from the bottom five onwards, I think there are some chinks. Punjab, I think, lack some bowling options. Delhi are not getting together as a unit. SRH, Mumbai, and CSK, I think for Mumbai and CSK, both the departments are not clicking together. It's good that SRH got a win today, but if you see overall, I don't think they have that a strong squad as well. The bottom five definitely look little weaker to me.
Okay. Anil and Mithun, any concerns with the top six fighting for the top four spot?
Mhm. I think all the teams are capable of qualifying, looking at the way the standings are. But for Mumbai and CSK, it will be very difficult. Maybe in 2015 they would have lost 4 games and then made a comeback, but they had a good team in 2015. But current team doesn't even look strong enough. Even the bench strength is not. They don't have any quality players sitting there. So keeping that in mind, I don't think Mumbai making a comeback, and it's end of the road for even CSK.
Okay. So Mithun is pretty clear that Mumbai and Chennai Super Kings can practice for the rest of the season and just bring up surprises. Excellent stuff. So before we move on to tomorrow's games, any thoughts, any further additions for the ones which happened today?
The one important thing what I really liked about this year's IPL so far is that Indian youngsters, they have been really performing so well. As Anil was mentioning, all lesser known players are coming really good, and they are playing some fearless cricket, which is very good for the future of Indian cricket. This shows how well they have been prepared to face the international bowlers at this competitive cricket. So very happy to see them performing, at two uncapped players winning the man of the match today. It all.
And then
Yeah,
And
also small thing like Ramandeep, he didn't bat really well, but that run out, right? I mean, it shows that the person has skill. He has the ability and stuff like that. So yeah, this tournament belongs to youngsters, and I guess that's the reason why the ratings have dropped. But yeah, this one I'm really happy.
I have
Like
another
everyone else
theory
is,
on the rate. So sorry, like I have another
yeah.
theory on the ratings drop because last time when this was happening, it was during the COVID wave. People did not have anything else to do, just sit at home and watch IPL. Now things are thankfully close to back to normal, more or less. So people are traveling, going out. Kids have exams, and they are hopefully studying this time because it's not like an online exam. So just kidding. But yeah, I think there are more things to do. I'll say one thing. With all these Indian youngsters doing well, it has actually forced teams to drop players whom they wouldn't have dropped before. Like think of a player like Manish Pandey who's out of sorts kind of last 2 3 seasons, who's like your anchor. Or Gujarat Titans also I think dropped Vijay Shankar out. 2 matches he didn't play, they dropped. Then Rahane, I think, will soon get dropped. So these sort of players whom you would have never dropped, they would just play on reputation that okay, this is like a solid, middle order player or like some anchor. That myth has gone, and all teams are blooding more and more youngsters into like opening roles or like okay, I'll give them the ball or give give those finishers sort of roles. So which is a good thing for Indian cricket. You're kind of moving on from older players to young blood and trying them. On the same reason, like a lot of Ishant Sharma didn't get picked, like, but all teams were picking like younger Indian fast bowlers. So teams are moving on. They're getting creative. They're blooding youngsters. It's a good sign. And yeah, they're coming onto the stage. So much pressure, but they're like player like Badoni. He's like what pressure and finishing matches. So great overall to see all of this being done.
awesome. Do some. All right. Switching to tomorrow, real quick. Two games again. Super Sunday. Kolkata Knight Riders and Delhi Capitals. Vishak, what are we expecting? Delhi Capitals come back or KKR, Pat Cummins and Ray Russ sweeping them?
I think KKR have a much all-round unit compared to Delhi Capitals at the moment. Delhi Capitals have a lot of work to do. So I think KKR have the upper hand in this game, but DC definitely have to come back. They can't leave it too late. I think they have one win out of 4 games, right? So if they afford to lose one more game, I think they might be almost in the same stage of like kind Mumbai Indians and CSK kind of after losing 4 games. So I think they will also have a lot of work to do. So I think it's advantage KKR, but DC definitely has to make some game out of it and try to get a win here.
Anil, any thoughts from DC? DC have a chance?
I mean, like Vishak mentioned, I think KK has upper hand, and I think KK is a much more stronger and settled unit. Shreyas Iyer seems like a much calmer thought, you know, much better thinker and much better captain than Pant. And looking at how the current season is going, KKR and RCB are my two favorites to reach the final.
Very good. All right. Second game will be pretty close, I think, which is Lucknow Super Giants and Rajasthan Royals. Seems like a batting paradise. Hopefully, the wicket plays well. Both the teams have strong batters. What can we expect from that game?
As you said, the both the team have a very good batting lineup, so it's going to be a high-scoring game. It's all about how well they will be able to bowl and contain runs. The team which manages to do that will come out as a winning team. I think I back Lucknow Super Giants to come good with bowling lineup they have got. And DC, I think DC will be coming good against KKR. Yeah, they need a win badly, and they will definitely going to do it. Warner back in the team, and hopefully he'll score runs and he'll win it for them. Yeah.
Yeah, Warner Buttabama.
Sorry to
Okay.
disappoint you, Sanjay. So I feel RR will, because RR has a better bowling attack, and if the
Yeah,
top 3 or 4 fires, the RR will be lethal. And it's kind of, we have seen their batting has been firing pretty well, and they have one of the best bowling attacks as well in the competition so far. So
yeah,
I think RR, and compared to LSG, right, they don't have that lethality in their bowling kind of. So I think that is one thing which LSD might lack. They might have to score a lot of runs to actually kind of defend that score or something like that. So I think RR has a slightly better advantage, and I will back RR in this one.
And
yeah,
I
or
think
just avoid any kind of.
hmm,
Yeah, I was just saying for LSG to, to win this one, I think they have to do everything right. Because with the RR quality side, if they have one or two bad overs, RR will make use of it. If the batsmen make one or two mistakes, the bowlers are going to make use of it, right? So LSG has LSG has to be perfect there. Yeah,
I think the only a main thing which will decide tomorrow's night match is the toss. It's happening at Wankhede. We've seen like Dew getting pretty bad at times. So even if you have like good quality bowling, if Dew comes in, it's kind of tough to defend there. So that's one. And the first match is happening at Brabon. It's a day game, right? So I think that will be like a lot closer. And having said all that, I think Shreyas Iyer will be more pumped up because he was dumped by DC as captain, and Pant was appointed the captain instead of him, right? Like it was his. He got injured. Pant was interim captain, and then he became permanent captain. So
but I
Shreyas
think
Iyer
they
will have,
handle it really well. I think this it was mutual. I think they had talks about it.
yeah.
So yeah,
No, that's the reason why Shreyas did not want to get retained by them also, right? Like ideally they
correct.
would have wanted to retain him instead of like let's say who were their other Indian retainees like Prithvi Shaw and
Sure.
Akshar Patel. Hmm.
Yeah.
So Shreyas obviously is more valuable. Amicably ended. He became like a captain of another franchisee. So it'll be interesting to see those dynamics as well. So he'll have a point to prove.
Stuff. Sunday coming up for sure. IPL is heating up, and surprisingly, Mumbai and Chennai are at the bottom of the table. That's the truth of IPL 2022, which is going into week 3. Remember, this is a long tournament. May 29th is the final, so there's a long way to go for the tournament. We will continue to cover every single game.
Have they announced the place where the finals are going to be there? Is it fixed?
I don't know yet. Vishak, any thoughts? Is it Pune? Is it?
I believe they said like for the knockouts they are going to add Ahmedabad, so I'm not sure if it's going to be Ahmedabad for the finals.
Most likely, like unless like COVID hopefully stays in control, during their governing council or some meeting, they put a proposal that for playoffs it's okay to travel somewhere. So if if that's there, then most likely it will be Ahmedabad. They want to showcase the stadium, new franchisee. Hopefully, they are there in the playoffs also. So,
Yeah, definitely we need different pitches than the worn out for 2 months and a low scoring final or a playoff. That's definitely there. Anyway, Vishak, Mithun, Anil, and Adi, thanks for joining in. Really, really appreciate it. And it's glad to see sunrises on the board. So RCB is 1-2. And Syed and Ravi, if you're listening in, commiserations from our end. I'm sure CSK will win at some point in time. For the folks who are watching and engaging, thanks for putting comments and encouraging us. We will see you tomorrow, hopefully back with another segment of Water Player Concussion sub series. Enjoy the rest of the Saturday. Thanks, chaps.
Thanks, guys. Good night.
Thank you.